DreamWorks has got to be like one of the most hit or miss studios of all time, dude. Like, you get studios like Pixar that just put out non-stop bangers until they were tragically hit with a gas leak in 2011. But DreamWorks likes to mix it up a bit, because like you never know whether they're going to lock in and give us like a Megamind or Captain Underpants while still being the same guys behind Trolls and Turbo. Today we're gonna have a look at some of the DreamWorks movies that people don't like so much and see if they're as bad as that Rotten Tomatoes score makes them look. So, you know, get comfy, put on those nostalgia goggles, because today we're gonna have a look at some bad DreamWorks movies.
Grug is kind of...
Now, DreamWorks had like a hell of a strong start. Like, what other studios can say they came out of the gate with friggin' Shrek and Chicken Run? And Ants was there too, I guess. And not counting their 2D movies that no one talks about, it took them a whole 5 movies to start missing, because in 2004, they gave us Shark Tale, which came out like that early DreamWorks era of just blatant plagiarism. Shark Tale's always felt to me like a movie that everyone's just kind of embarrassed by. Like, it has been undefeated for 20 years as the shittiest reviewed movie they've ever put out. It's one of the only DreamWorks movies to not get its own show. The freaking thumbnail that came up when I went to rent it on YouTube was like a warning to not buy it. And it didn't even get invited to the new DreamWorks logo, and even the Boss Baby made it on there, dude. It's basically tradition that every DreamWorks movie has to spend like 80% of the budget on random ass celebrity voice actors that I think they choose through an extremely drunk game of darts or some shit. Because like, how the fuck else do you end up with Nicolas Cage as Grug? So I guess Will Smith was probably one of their least insane picks, to be honest. But then they had to go and f it all up by deciding that for some reason, every single one of the characters had to look like their voice actors. Like, look at Oscar, man. Bro looks like a Big Mouth character. One thing I kind of miss about these early DreamWorks movies was how their lead characters were kind of like massive pricks. Shrek, when you think about it, spends all of the first movie making it very clear that he doesn't give a shit about any of these homeless fairy tale creatures hiding in his swamp, and is only going on a quest to save Fiona so he can get them all to fuck off. And Oscar's kind of the same, because like when we first meet this dude, he is an absolute loser. And not because his life sucks or anything. Like, he's got a decent job, and this girlfish that's so in love with him that she's willing to give him a precious family heirloom so he can pay off his debts. And then what does he do? He bets it on illegal seahorse racing. The whole movie only happens because this dude is such a fraud that he pretends to murder a shark for clout so he can hook up with a Jessica Rabbit fish. And in both movies, it's only because they're both so down bad that they end up doing the right thing at the end of the movie. Which, yeah, is based, but still, he's not like a character that you actually want to root for, you know? I can definitely see why like that 65% of normal people couldn't get into this one, because like doing a mafia gangster movie parody with fish was definitely a choice that was made in a children's movie. But I'm gonna say it, okay? I didn't think it was that bad. Alright?
Dun dun, can't touch this. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
You can see a lot of the places where it's trying to be like Shrek, like with the celebrity voices and the soundtrack and how it's like the ugliest movie ever made. But I don't know if I call it DreamWorks' worst when we haven't even talked about the next one yet.
You like jazz?
B-movie's kind of a hard one to talk about, because like, what is there even left to say about it, really? Other than that, everyone who worked on it is going straight to hell. Compliment.
I made a cartoon movie about bees you may have watched as a child. I would like to apologize for that now.
Of all people, they went with Jerry Seinfeld to lead this movie, who took time out of his busy schedule of dating 17-year-olds to voice Barry B. Benson, who I would say is the ugliest animated character I have ever seen if we didn't literally just talk about Shark Tale. It feels like if someone came up with a Pixar movie as a joke, and like you can tell with the absolute minimal effort they put into the world building. Like, they don't even try to make it anything other than just like a human world with bees in it, because they got like bee cars and bee news and bee Larry King, and that's the fucking extent of creativity we're dealing with here. The most thought they put into establishing the world is telling us that the entire bee society is inbred.
That girl was hot.
She's my cousin.
She is?
Yes, we're all cousins. And the ladies see you wearing it?
Aren't they our cousins too?
Distant, distant.
Now, the premise of a bee suing the entire human race because we keep stealing their honey is kind of funny, to be fair. Like, I don't know if I spent 150 million bucks on it personally, but having a kid's movie about talking bees turn into a courtroom drama for like half the runtime is kind of based. My problem with it is that someone decided it would be a really good idea to have Barry want to fuck a human.
You work through it like any emotion. Anger, jealousy, lust.
Barry is the first bee in existence to break the sacred bee law of not talking to humans, because apparently it would make them so insanely horny that they would immediately leave their boyfriend for a fucking bee. I'm glad most people agree that Vanessa's boyfriend Ken is like the real victim here, because like the movie tries to make him out to be like the asshole boyfriend character when all this dude wants to do is spend time with his girlfriend, and he has to come home to find out that he's being cucked by a bee. The bee movie is fucking insane. That's like all I can say about it, really. And like, I kind of love that about it.
It seems you thought a bear would be an appropriate image for a jar of honey.
Well, they're very lovable creatures.
You mean like this?
Seinfeld was like super involved in making bee movies, so the fact that he wrote himself as like a self-insert bee Jesus that saves all of the bees from slavery is probably one of the reasons this shit got its ass beat by critics when it first came out.
How about a suicide pact?
What the fuck are you talking about, man?
Dreamworks has always kind of crushed it with their sequels, okay? Like, I've never had any complaints in that department. And before you say anything, because I know there's gonna be that one guy, no, Megamind 2 does not count, because that shit was not from the real Dreamworks, okay? That's like saying that it's Pixar's fault that planes exist. But two of their most historic fumbles was their handling of the Shrek sequels.
What are you talking about, cracker?
I know Shrek 3 is the one that people hate way more, but like I talked about that one not too long ago already, which is good actually, because now I can talk about the better one. Now, I am still one of Shrek 3's like only 4 fans in the entire world, but I still think it's really funny that you can like totally skip over it. Like, I genuinely don't think there's a single thing that actually carries over to the 4th one. I think the only thing that Shrek 3 introduced really was like his ugly ass ogre children, and then in Shrek 4 they had to like erase them from existence to keep the plot going. This is the midlife crisis Shrek movie, okay? He goes, fuck my wife, fuck my stupid hideous kids. The only thing I want to do is bathe in shit all day. So the dude runs off to Rumpelstiltskin and signs away a day of his life without hesitation so that he can spend all day terrorizing children. But Shrek was filled with so much hatred for his loving wife and kids that he didn't read the terms and conditions, because turns out Rumpelstiltskin deletes the day he was born, and literally everything goes to shit because apparently Shrek is the single most important person that has ever existed. If Shrek didn't exist, then Fiona's parents would have signed away their entire kingdom to Rumpelstiltskin and then fucking die. Far, Far Away is like an apocalyptic wasteland where every character we know is either homeless or morbidly obese. Gingy is being paid to slaughter his own kind for entertainment. Donkey is sold into slavery.
I'm being asked!
Puss puts 23 hours a day into League of Legends, and Fiona's the leader of an ogre resistance, so her life is kind of a lot more accomplished without Shrek in it, if we're being honest.
My donkey fell in your waffle hole.
Rumpelstiltskin's a pretty good villain too. Like, I know everyone says he looks like Shane Dawson, which is why I'm glad he doesn't have any scenes with Puss, but I like Shrek 4 more every time I watch it. I mean, it peaks in the first 10 minutes with the dude the Raw Kid, but I mean, the rest of it's still pretty good. It's still not Shrek 2, and like, nothing is ever going to be, but what it does have over it is this random ogre with like the most insane jawline I've seen in my entire life. Like, this dude is mewing throughout this entire movie. It's fucking crazy. After Shrek 4, Dreamworks like locked the fuck in. Like, their output was crazy. They were putting out Megamind, Kung Fu Panda 2, Madagascar 3, Rise of the Guardians, the Croods, and it took them until 2015 to fumble again with Home. I like to measure the success of an animated movie based on how many memes I see of it on a daily basis, but I don't think I've heard like a single human being mention Home in like the last 10 years because it has no memes. Monsters vs. Aliens has had more cultural impact in this movie, and I think it's because it came out in like that weird window where there were like 300 different animated alien movies coming out, but this one has Sheldon Cooper voicing this marketable plushy ass alien called O, who's part of an alien race called the Boobs that all sound like Starfire.
Yo, can I come into the out now?
No, you cannot come into the out now.
And even though they're boobs, they're actually an entire race of pussies who only invade Earth because they're running away from a much cooler looking alien race called the Gorg. And this dumbass makes himself like the most hated member of his entire species when he somehow invites the entire fucking galaxy to his housewarming party and doxes their location to the Gorg, who then show up to commit boob genocide because their captain stole an egg full of their alien sperm. Are we following so far? This is very important. O's joined in his redemption arc by Rihanna, who really needs to fucking fire her agent, which means that naturally every emotional moment is like punctuated by a Rihanna needle drop every 10 minutes.
My hands are in the air like I just do not care.
I think the reason that not a single person has brought this up in the last decade is the same reason I kind of just don't have that much to say about it. Home's just kind of okay. I mean, it is one of the better looking movies in this video because DreamWorks in the mid-2010s finally started to work out like what an art style was. Even if like a lot of the more emotional parts are undercut by the fact that every single time O speaks, I'm just waiting for the fucking Big Bang Theory laugh track to kick in.
What are you doing?
I am sorry. It's time for me to make love to your daughter's vagina.
Anyway, that leads us to the final stop on our journey, The Boss Baby. Because for some reason, every 47-year-old movie critic fucking loves the Trolls movies, dude. And people fucking hate this movie, dude. Like, I asked people on Twitter what everyone's, like, least favorite DreamWorks movie was, and people were out for The Boss Baby's blood. And they've already milked the shit out of this franchise with the 4-season TV show that has maybe the sickest intro I've heard in my entire life. But the weirdest thing is, it actually ended up being like one of the better movies I watched in this video, and like, I know that sounds like I'm taking the piss, but I'm being serious, I swear to God. I don't know what sick fuck put Alec Baldwin on that dartboard, but I guess they must have thought that hearing a baby say he needs upsies was really funny when he sounds like a 47-year-old man.
I want you to suck it.
You suck it.
No, it's for you to suck.
I'm not sucking that.
But I'm being 100% serious when I say that The Boss Baby has more visual source than any of the other movies in this video, and I'm not just saying that because it opens on a shot of a baby's ass, okay? I'm not not that kind of YouTuber. Half the movie are these really cool imagination scenes that look so good that I kind of wish the whole movie looked like that. I thought that because we see the whole movie through like the eyes of a 7-year-old, that like the baby wearing a suit was just something that he saw, but no, he's actually like dripped the fuck out apparently.
He wears a suit.
I know, isn't it cute? He's like a little man.
As an older brother, this movie being about an only child having their entire life ruined by an unwanted pregnancy is like so relatable. When my brother was born, my parents had to lock me in another room and give me Thomas the Tank Engine toys so I'd stop crying.
This Templeton is first class.
Why is it empty?
No one can afford it.
The Boss Baby mythos is like surprisingly complicated. So Alec Baldwin is part of the upper echelon of a baby society that sends him to infiltrate this kid's family to gather intel on a pet company being run by an ex-boss baby who wants to release a puppy that's so cute that it will make sure that no one has sex ever again. So of course, with the brother being the only one that knows his secret, he spends half the movie trying to assassinate the baby. But yeah, aside from there being like way too many scenes of Alec Baldwin's naked baby ass, I'm gonna say I think I might be the only person over the age of 5 that actually likes the Boss Baby.
Hands up, devil baby!
Fuck!
Anyway, that's about all from me. I mean, who needs an outro anyway? You guys are just gonna click off the video. So all I'm saying is please go see The Wild Robot when that shit comes out in like a week. Otherwise, Dreamworks is only going to make Boss Baby sequels for like the next 25 years. Okay, please. I'm begging you.